Global Meet of Asiatic Societies 2019. The dreams of William Jones for establishing a center for learning and research in Oriental studies led to the foundation of the Asiatic Society in the year 1784 in Calcutta. This was followed by establishment of Asiatic societies in different parts of the world, with similar objectives that are primarily focused on investigation of subjects connected with and for the encouragement of science, literature, and the arts in relation to Asia. Mooting on the idea of providing a platform for deliberations on Oriental and Indological studies, the Asiatic Society, Kolkata, thought of organizing an international colloquium which took the shape of a global meet of Asiatic societies that was organized at its Vidyasagar Hall on 16 February 2019. A first of its kind, the event turned out to be very successful, with participation from various institutions from across the globe.
Good morning, everybody. To all the delegates who are present today, a very, very happy New Year 2019. And this noble journey, which we begin today, immediately would relate us to our past, originating roughly about 236 years ago, and would also help us marching ahead for at least some millennia to come. We have been able to get among us this morning representatives of various Asiatic societies of the world. We are happy to announce that today, in this global meet, Ministry of Culture, Government of India is being represented by its Joint Secretary, Dr. Shravan Kumar, IRS, who is present among us. And we will have our turn of individual presentations of these Asiatic societies, what we are doing, what we want to do, and what are the common grounds where we can meet in future. I once again, on behalf of the Asiatic Society Kolkata, being the grandpa or grandma, whatever you say, because we are the oldest and the eldest. Now, we have received the latest bulletin of the Asiatic Society, Kolkata, Journal of the Asiatic Society, Journal of the Asiatic Society, the latest bulletin, and all of you will get a copy.
Five countries coming here through their very senior representatives in person, and 2 countries participating through the modern way of participation, which is the Skype. Asiatic societies based out of Asian countries in this first global meet of Asiatic Society. So we can brand it the Global Meet of Asiatic Society. And I'm so impressed that this Asiatic Society has so many experts that it is apt to fulfill the main motto for which the Asiatic Society has been conceptualized, which is to encompass everything that is produced by nature and performed by humans. And I'm really happy to say that the 100% of targets that I had given has been achieved. I would be extending my help and support in getting whatever resources, financial or otherwise, that you want from the ministry in the next 1.5 months. And I can assure you that it will be there before you expect it to go in your kitty. That when I entered the hotel where I have been made to put, the kind of, I came here at 1:30 in the night, and I was a little, sorry to digress, but this is what culture is. Culture is not always about what you read in books. Culture is about what you see in your day-to-day life. That's how I study culture. When I stopped in front of the gate, I was taken aback, whether I am in the seat of Indian culture, which is Kolkata, because the kind of youthful activities going around in the hotel, I thought we have not been able to impart to the next generation what this citadel of culture in India should have imparted. And I'm sure that should be a goal, a task, a vision for this organization to achieve in the years to come, so that their experiments still yield the results that we all are witness to in our heritage through all these documentary, numismatic, and other sources that we are preserving in our museums, libraries, archives. The symbols and tokens are equally important, again, for the next generation who believes in social media. That's why I offered that, I'll facilitate that part, being part of the Ministry of Culture. So what we have to engage at our level is to communicate to them that form is important, but we have the substance. We had conceptualized this global meet as a first step. And the second step that I wanted to achieve was to actually have a festival where we can display this kind of a culture. I had requested the Asiatic Society of Mumbai to do that part because they have a wonderful, heritage structure, which is an iconic structure. Their stairs, in a very festive mood with the elder generation, younger generation, and exchange through whatever cultural displays we can do. Whatever happens in Mumbai gets immediately copied through the present mode of communication, which is broadcast, social media, and across the country. A child sitting in a village, leave aside a big metropolitan town like Kolkata, but in a village, copying the models and what dresses they wear in their villages. But that only proves that that mode of communication is very powerful if it can reach within seconds to every nook and corner of the country. Why should we not use that mode of communication to send the real cultural messages that we are sitting, pretty with? We should try and take that first step, achieving more targets in times to come. And the second target, I am sure, will be achieved by him, is of having a festival where not just the Asiatic societies of different parts, but you can invite other members also. There is a performer like an artist, or if there is an artisan, they can also be invited. We can provide small corners for all these people, and we have many galleries. And I am very glad to tell you that the commissioner there has already told me that you go ahead, we'll give you full support. And Municipal Commissioner of Mumbai is as good as the Chief Minister of Mumbai because he holds the funds which are almost equivalent to the funds of many of the states. My experiences has been in my interactions with the Asiatic Society Kolkata ever since I came here first, and even before that, when he had flagged some issues that were really concerning the organization, which needed to be addressed, and we were successfully able to address. Hope that all of you would really join hands in making the performance of your General Secretary going great guns in times to come, and definitely the organization led by your President to be the vanguard in leading this association of Asiatic society to even greater heights in times to come.
Good morning, everybody. For the first time in the history of Asiatic Society, Calcutta, that we have the opportunity to meet different Asiatic Society personalities from Asian countries. And it is our pride that we have come across 235 years of its existence in a glorious manner. So, while during last 2 years tenure of this Council of Asiatic Society, we have organized various lectures of very high standard, international level, and seminars of very unusual episodes. Usually people doesn't understand or don't want to understand. We had a very important seminar organized by our medical secretary, Dr. Shubir Dotto, on autism. We don't know what it is and how to face, how society will bear up with this, how we face this. And that radiates a sort of knowledge. Those who are victims of this can think twice how to cope up with this, how to be with this without any grudge, and as a human being for the purpose of what we call seva, philanthropy, and in many other ways. Similarly, we had, first time perhaps, organized an workshop cum seminar on visual art. We had a few examples and few specimens of the artist's work of who established, actually under the guidance of Avinath Tagore, his Society of Oriental Arts. We, on the floor, here in this hall, we organized how the painting used to be done by Tagore and his associates. And we had a lot of talk on that. The other day we had been listening about the Bengal Renaissance. Well, one of our speakers from Bangladesh elaborated it with little question that really if we have achieved any Renaissance in Bengal or not. Well, there should be and there would be some sort of controversies by which we will understand much more about any episode we face and whatever we produce and nature have produced have become place of investigation, research for knowledge and its radiation to the members as well as to the public and to the nation. With these few words, I thank you all for taking the trouble of coming over here and hope this sort of, cooperation with different societies, Asiatic societies of Asia, as well as world, if there is any, will meet and know much more about each other and improve ourselves.
Asiatic Society of Kolkata has organized. I have to confess that until recently, we knew that there was an Asiatic Society in Kolkata. It's always easier, I think, now that we have technology at our command to see things presented. We saw the excellent work that Sri Lanka and Dr. DeVos has done. So visually, perhaps it's easier to take in things, and what I brought is a sort of brief run-through of the Asiatic Society of Mumbai and a few clips on the digitization work that recently we've been able to do. We don't go away and forget about keeping in touch, because I think that a follow-up will really make this particular global meet. My thanks particularly to Dr. Chakraborty, because really without the effort that he has made, with the support that is always needed, but it needs someone to give it that push. And now Dr. Shravan Kumar will hold him up as an example to us and say, there's a challenge for you. I would also thank your entire staff, because I think they have been extremely helpful in setting up things, the warm hospitality, and I'm sure Dr. Suraj Pandit joins me in conveying these words of gratitude to everybody.
The Royal Asiatic Society of Ceylon was established in 1845 before any formal university system was in place, and like the Kolkata Asiatic Society was a center for academic debate. Ceylon became Sri Lanka, and as such our name changed to the Royal Asiatic Society of Sri Lanka. For many years, the RASSL was only a library with over 14,000 books, very small compared to that of the Kolkata Asiatic Society. In 1977, the then president of Sri Lanka, Jaya Jayawardena, a life member of the society, offered the RASSL a place of land in a very prestigious location in the heart of the city. The Mahaveli Authority constructed a building consisting of ground plus 2 additional floors. The ground floor houses the museum dedicated to the hydrological civilization of Sri Lanka, and the RSSL is located on the first floor and has access to the use of the auditorium. The society has since been incorporated and the status gazetted. We do not have any person representing the government on the board, and we are all volunteers except for 4 persons who are full-time. This model, which while perhaps appropriate at a time of establishment, is difficult to sustain in today's climate where external funding is very limited. Over time, the number of papers submitted to the journal has dropped. While we are trying to understand the true cause for this, it could be driven by the increase in the number of other journals available today. Admittedly, the competition is high, and we have to dig deep to understand how we can remain attractive to the younger generation if the society is to thrive into the future. Sessions have been very popular, and we hope to continue providing such services in the future. This is because new councils may have changed attitudes and views of their own role as a society. They are also required to take up associate membership of the RSSL. They use the boardroom or the auditorium for meetings and other facilities like computer and multimedia projectors and so on for their presentations. Another idea to broaden the membership and encourage the younger generation was the inauguration of the annual research conference. We typically receive about 350 abstracts per year, with 400 being our highest in 2015. These are checked for compliance, reviewed, and if suitable, permitted to proceed to the next stage. This year, for our 12th annual research conference, we have had in excess to 300 submissions, of which a third were rejected for non-compliance to the specific format. We see this as an opportunity to groom the next generation, and the number of extended abstracts approved in 2019 are as follows: 37 history and archaeology, 28 language and education, 11 communication and media, 16 health and nutrition, 17 science, technology and indigenous knowledge systems, 30 for aesthetics and social values, 33 religion and social values, 17 challenges for sustainable development. We sought approval to implement the Attakatha translation and publication project. The activities of the project spanned 11 years, commencing in 1997 and finally reaching completion in 2008. As part of the RA's 175 publications, that is, we'll be coming up to 175 years, I think, next year, the History of Science and Technology Study Group will publish 5-volume series on the following themes. The research conducted by this group includes a survey of the Buddhist commentaries to provide a long-term and holistic perspective on these subjects. There was a big debate between the Christian community and the Buddhist community, where they debated as to who was better and so on and so forth. Then there was one workshop on the Ramayana, and I don't know whether you know, but the Ramayana does not figure in our folklore. Another one that we did was Gaspar Correa's Lendas da India, especially the reference part to Sri Lanka.
It was founded in 1878 under the name of the Straits Branch, subsequently became the Malayan branch, and now the Malaysian branch. Since then, it has, with the exception of the Japanese occupation years, published a journal of the Malaysian branch of the Royal Asiatic Society, This is our latest number. There's a copy on display outside. On our establishment in 1877, at a meeting held in the Raffles Library in Singapore, the society was formed for the purpose of collecting and recording scientific information in the Malay Peninsula and Archipelago. Interestingly, the first rules declared that the objects of the society were to be A, the investigation of subjects connected with the Straits of Malacca and the neighbouring countries. We were established as the branch of the Royal Asiatic Society of London, and corporate arrangements then not being as strict as they are nowadays, this was merely an agreement whereby our members were able to use the facilities of the society in London. Early members were very largely members of the colonial administration, 95% European. The vice president from Penang was D. Logan, related to J.R. Logan, who had in earlier years been responsible for the establishment of the unfortunately short-lived. The headquarters, which were at the Raffles Museum in Singapore, were changed to Kuala Lumpur towards the end of the 1960s, when the late Tan Sri Mubin Shepherd almost single-handedly saved the society from oblivion. The background to this was that at that stage the Singapore authorities went through a convulsion of nationalism. We realized that whatever alternative we produced would result in one or more of our constituent political bodies pulling out. So there we are, left with a name which is an extraordinarily anachronistic and inaccurate. We've now got about 500 members, mostly Singapore, Malaysian and Brunei, but with a distinguished leavening of academic institutions worldwide. This, as it turns out, has been an interesting two-way interchange. Raffles published his Malayu Nation in Asiatic Researches, which I believe is a predecessor of your journal, and John Lydon also published his important Indo-Chinese Nations. One of the first Malaysians to contribute to the journal was Zainal Abidin bin Ahmad, also known as Zaba, the first of whose publications or papers appeared in 1922. He continued to write up till 1947. All journals are greatly improved by indices, and we've been very well served in this respect, most recently by a full index, both subject and author, initially prepared by John Gullick in his retirement, online on our website, and we've managed to keep it up to date, and we're currently up to 2017. But if you want hard print numbers of the journal, they are available at a price, I regret to say, from Schmidt Periodicals in Germany and the USA. We have a panel of associate and assistant editors and an international advisory board of distinguished scholars. In 2010, there was a major change in our society's activities and finances. Numbers of members had been steadily falling as older members passed on and were not replaced by a younger generation. However, our consistent record of publication since 1878 facilitated our acceptance in 2010 into Project Muse, a digital platform for scholarly journals, part of Johns Hopkins University Press in Baltimore, USA. Alternatively, we might need to increase the size of our journal and its frequency to create a larger pool of downloads. We have a lively web page and an active social media presence. The Facebook page has over 2,000 followers, and we're discussing ways to attract the new members that are essential if we are to survive for another 150 years. We've survived 140 years, a century less than you, through the dedicated efforts of really a very small number of volunteer editors.
Immediately I remembered one very German paper by Umberto Eco, Vegetative Memory vis-a-vis Mineral Memory. If you have read through that paper, you must be knowing the essence of it. We thought we are really not required to carry things, our volume, in a very small piece of gadget, because we want to present our volume in volumes. If you ever pay a visit for 5, 10, 15 minutes, you would see for yourselves how things are being done there. 50,000 odd number of manuscripts of very many languages from very many countries, the oldest being probably of 7th century. Even the richest, as those days it was considered, the richest collection, the oldest book being of 1495 or something. Little away from here, there is one declared heritage building again, Metcalfe Hall, where we house our very old journals and documents. Even here in our collection of library and museum, we operate on 4 pillars. Research, that is of 2 kinds. We have in-house research fellows, and we have also external projects submitted to us by very elderly persons, retired professors, scientists, and all kinds of intellectuals. Asiatic Society is there to provide them that opportunity. So we conduct our researches through in-house research fellows, those who are pretty younger in age, and also through external projects. Even in publication, this is the oldest publication house. The society was established in 1784, publication started in 1788. Since then, uninterruptedly, through monographs, through journals, through bulletins, through various other kinds of occasional publications, then we conduct our seminar, workshop, endowment lectures. These are also published in volumes, either individually or collectively. Since we passed successfully our 200th years after 1784, in 1984, the Asiatic Society was declared as an institution of national importance, and through an act of parliament, Government of India took upon themselves the responsibility of providing us with the necessary fund. The other day you had been yourself witness to the function that we inaugurated the other building and dedicated it in the name of Dr. Rajendralal Mitro. And eventually over the years, we are extending our academic activities in many, many other fields. Every month we bring out our bulletin. Every month we hold some kind of a meeting or seminar, workshop, endowment, lecture. This is the range of activities of the Asiatic Society. And then we thought we must also have some kind of an interaction with the similar kind of research institutes, especially other Asiatic societies of the world, about whom we had no personal intimate knowledge so far, other than through circulation of journal or occasional communication. That was our precise purpose of calling you here, exchanging ideas and projecting some new directions which will ultimately have its social, cultural, economic, political, whatever the implications in other parts of the South and South Asian countries. That is one of our precise agenda.
My name is Robert Eldridge, and I'm a council member for the Asiatic Society in Japan. I want to thank the organizers for doing this fantastic conference. It was a great idea, and I hope that we can do similar ones in the future. The society was formed in 1872 in Japan, in our case, and we have people from all walks of life in our group. I would say that we focus more on Japan than other parts of Asia. 2022 will be the 150th anniversary of the society. So we have monthly meetings that are held in Tokyo. At the monthly meetings, it's a lecture by a prominent individual in his or her field. Currently, we don't have a Kansai chapter, but we've done events in the Kansai region. For example, the 130th anniversary of our society we did in Kyoto, which is the old capital of Japan. Since the year 2006, we've been doing what we call the Young Scholars Program, and that's an opportunity every year for very young scholars, usually graduate students, sometimes undergraduate students, as well as recently earned PhD scholars to present their research in English. The YSP, the Young Scholars Program, was initiated by Princess Takamoto, who is our patron of the society. We partner with a lot of different embassies, one of them being the Indian Embassy. One of our most famous members, a Dr. Durt, who is from Belgium originally, last year he passed away, and he's considered one of Japan's leading specialists on Buddhism. And so similarly, if there are people in the audience or some of your members or students who are interested in Buddhism from a Japanese perspective, we also have a robust Facebook page, and we also use traditional posting, regular mail.
It would be nice, at least as common commitment to the past, to include the catalogue of that society, which at the moment is going through a period of reform, and they're actually digitalizing material, so one can actually use a lot of what they have. We have an opportunity in the sense that a country which for many, many years has been outside our perimeter has, as it were, begun to show enormous signs of activity. And I think somewhere or another we should take an interest in that country, which is Myanmar. Myanmar had once upon a time an extremely important research society. It was called the Burma Research Society. And it used to have a profusion of material, archaeological, anthropological, and otherwise, on both the Northeast, on Southwest China, on Southeast Asia, etc. So it became a department of government. But nevertheless, its journal has continued over the years to come out. And it would be useful now, I think, to engage with that particular country and its activities, because they are very, very happy to interact. The local Asiatic societies and the grouping that we have already found available with us this day, through this day. And I think if the Asiatic Society of Calcutta would commit itself to one very important thing, which is to have the Young Scholars Conference perhaps next year, that would set the ball rolling. All one has to do is to arrange a conference on a theme. And we could easily invite papers and arrange at least for a group of perhaps 50 to 100 people to come together. That would be a wonderful thing to begin this process, and would be a tribute, I think, to the events that have taken place today.
44 in number in Kashmir. We thought that we should repeat it here also today, and afterwards we will invite our employees downstairs, for which we are preparing to again perform this precious task on our shoulder. Kindly please stand up for a minute to mourn this death.
I have Dr. Johnson on my right and Dr. Cooper on my left. I'm Alison Ota. I should have said that at the beginning. I'm the director of the Royal Asiatic Society here in London.
And here in London, we are preparing for the 200th anniversary of our society, 2023. We will be able to work closely with you and involve you in our celebrations here in the UK in general, is that I feel that all these Asiatic societies have great libraries and great collections, and they have a tradition of being very active in scholarship and in promoting knowledge. I feel very upbeat about the future of learned societies such as ours, and that we should take every opportunity to use modern technologies.
I should say that I've been a fellow of the Royal Asiatic Society in London since 1999. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for us, and I congratulate you in terms of your foresight in putting together an international event of this magnitude. And I wish to suggest a way in which we can use the teleconference bridge we are building. This would also enable us to better understand the potential strengths of our combined bibliographic assets and where they can be located. So in effect, a form of inventory of our collective archival assets. Today, in this modern era of global connectivity, our combined records and archives represent sources of knowledge which should no longer suffer guilt by association. Our Asiatic societies evolved as custodians of knowledge.
There are opportunities for young scholars in the universities around the country here to give presentations of their work and to come to talks. And we had the first winner announced by the president of the British Academy this last October, and we're about to run the prize again.
Is how to bring the young people in.
We did have a student series for several years of lectures for young scholars who had just received their PhD or were about to receive their PhD. And that was quite successful. But in the end, we discontinued it and include now young scholars as part of the main series anyway.
It has been rightly pointed out by our Malaysian friend that a number of Asiatic societies have been omitted. Friends, we have tried our best to contact all of them. And today I gathered from the Malaysian delegate submission that initially they had 95% of the members who were Europeans. The founder of Asiatic Society, Kolkata, rightly pointed out that the scope of discussion, ambit of analysis would be the geographical boundary of the whole of Asia. I can mention here one interesting point which has been mentioned in the presentation given by the Royal Asiatic Society of Great Britain. Colebrook was instrumental in the establishment of the Royal Asiatic Society of Great Britain. After his 30 years of passage here in India, where he also took a very valuable role in the consolidation of the Asiatic Society of Kolkata. Going back to England, he was instrumental in forming the Asiatic Society, Royal Asiatic Society of Great Britain and Ireland. From Asiatic Society Kolkata, which had been established in 1784, we have the Asiatic Society of Mumbai, which was established in 1804, if I'm not wrong. Then Asiatic Society of Japan, which was established in 1872. Then Royal Asiatic Society of Sri Lanka, which was established in 1845. Then Malaysian branch of Royal Asiatic Society, 1878. And Bangladesh, established in two phases. First, the Asiatic Society of Pakistan in 1951, and then after the liberation of Bangladesh in 1971, Asiatic Society of Bangladesh. Right here, Asiatic Society Calcutta has a membership of about 2,000. And another common thing which we get is the lack of fund, scarcity of fund, from which every other Asiatic society, excepting perhaps we are more fortunate, Asiatic Society of Kolkata, excepting ASK, all other Asiatic societies are lacking in funds. I think unfortunate Asiatic Society Mumbai, in our 200 years, bicentenary year, Asiatic Society Kolkata got the recognition from central government as the Institute of National Importance. But one thing is very clear, that all the Asiatic societies, relatively novice or new or old, they are pursuing one type of common academic agenda. Almost everyone is having monthly lecture. Everybody is publishing bulletins. Now, one important suggestion which has been made is how to recruit the young members. As you know, again, I am talking about the Asiatic Society Japan. As he said that the younger generation, we are failing to attract them. Asiatic Society Kolkata, when it was established, all other academic societies were born subsequently in the womb of the Asiatic Society Kolkata. Now, how to create a new method of attraction for the younger scholars? That is a challenge for every other Asiatic society, whether in India, in Mumbai, in Kolkata, or in other countries. So that the younger members can be made interested in the functioning of Asiatic society, can be brought within the orbit of Asiatic society, has been demonstrated well by the past experience of Asiatic Society Kolkata. Because we have, all the Asiatic societies, we have valuable resources. We have manuscripts, we have library, good library, millions of books are there, lakhs of books are there. We have other such materials. So everything which makes for original research is to be found in the premises of the Asiatic Society. Memorandum of understanding with all other Asiatic societies, between different Asiatic societies at bilateral level, has to be undertaken. For that, you will not have to cross the geographical boundary. You will have to sit here, right here, and have access to that, provided we make that technology user-friendly. And I think there are ways of doing this technology user-friendly nowadays. Today, let us limit ourselves to opening up how we can interact, we increase contact with other Asiatic societies and make the benefits, make the materials available to all other members of the Asiatic society on a common platform, so that we get the benefit of that. Every other Asiatic society has a very, very formidable collection of manuscripts. Take, for example, Asiatic Society Kolkata. It has more than 50,000 manuscripts. Mumbai has presented just before us a very valuable CD indicating the various steps in doing that type of documentation, digitization. We in Kolkata, we have started that work. Mumbai Asiatic Society in their presentation has made that some few months back in 2018, Ministry of Culture had a meeting with them and they emphasized on the necessity of this type of documentation, digitization. We have to recall here that in Asiatic Society Kolkata also, the Ministry of Culture had the same type of meeting, the Joint Secretary had the same type of meeting with us, and he unequivocally emphasized the need for digitization for the purpose of saving the documents, because these are all affected by time. 14th century, 15th century, 16th century documents can no longer withstand the test of time unless we take up the task of digitization on an urgent basis.
Thanks to Professor Balapuria, Honorary Secretary of the Asiatic Society Mumbai, Professor Suraj Pandey, Member Managing Committee of the Asiatic Society of Mumbai, Dr. Ashley DeVos, President Royal Asiatic Society of Sri Lanka, Mr. Henry S. Barlow, Honorary Treasurer, Malaysia Branch of the Royal Asiatic Society, Professor Abdul Momin Chowdhury, Fellow Asiatic Society of Bangladesh, and finally our President, Professor Isha Mohammad, and our Secretary, Dr. Satyabroto Chakraborty. I must extend my thanks to Dr. Shraman Kumar, who taken the initiative initially for organizing this seminar. We must express my vote of thanks to Professor Alison Otha, Randolph G. Cooper, and Gordon Johnson from Royal Asiatic Society of Great Britain and Ireland for joining with us in the Skype, and also Professor Elridge Robert David, member of the Council, the Asiatic Society of Japan, and all the delegates present here. I must extend my thanks to Professor Hari Basudevan for organizing the interactive session, and Professor Shapon Pramanik for presenting a beautiful summing up. I must express my thanks to the employees of Asiatic Society. I must express our thanks to the media person who being present there and who I think will be coming in the interactive session. It's an amazing situation, and interacting with so many Asiatic Society is a beautiful experience with we will be sharing, and we will be looking forward for further extension of activities with others. With these few words, I express my vote of thanks.